lives have drastically changed, and for many, it can feel overwhelming. Join Tim Seaman now for a live discussion with mental health experts on how to best handle the changes that affect all of us. Coronavirus, a mental health discussion.
And good evening, and thanks for joining us this evening for this special KCAU-9 Town Hall, Coronavirus, a mental health discussion. I'm Tim Seaman. You know, from job loss to social distancing, it is a time where everything we used to know seems to have completely changed. For that reason alone, it's important for folks to keep an eye on their mental health. It's more important now, more than ever before, to help give folks just a little insight into how we navigate this time. For the next half hour or so, I'm joined by three mental health professionals who will help provide a bit of a roadmap, I guess we could call it, to navigate through these difficult days when it comes to our mental health. But first, we want to update you once again on the latest numbers and take a look at the new reports from today. 52 new cases of coronavirus being reported here in Iowa. That brings the state's total to 549 with 9 deaths. More than 7,300 people have tested negative, so that is good news. That's here in the Hawkeye State. 21 new cases of the virus detected in South Dakota. That brings the Rushmore State total to 129, 2 deaths reported there as well, and more than 3,900 people have tested negative. Meanwhile, in Nebraska, the state has topped 200 positive test results now. The state is now reporting 4 deaths and nearly 3,700 negative tests. We begin tonight, and folks that look at those statistics, of course, have plenty to ponder, as well as the national numbers, which, you know, from the cities and the states that are most impacted can be daunting. And so tonight we turn to Jennifer Jackson. She's closest to me, the Executive Director at Heartland Counseling. In the middle of our panel tonight is Dr. Raul Sanchez from Renewing the Mind Clinic, and rounding out our group here in studio of mental health professionals is Amy Block. She is the Executive Director with Catholic Charities here in Sioux City. First off, thanks to all of you taking time out of your schedules and what are busy days for all of us, and being here to help discuss what certainly is, I think, an important issue. And I want to get started talking about, of course, the physical aspects of what we're facing with coronavirus are obvious and first noted by everybody. Those hidden mental effects that we're facing, I think, are sometimes more difficult to get to. So I just throw this out to get started overall. How big of a problem do we face with mental health in the middle of this crisis? Whoever wants to jump in.
The biggest piece is just the perception of the loss of control. So what happens is nobody figures out, like, I can still go work out, I can still cook, I can still do my things for me personally, but it's the perception of isolation and the loss of control that pins people, and they feel like I can't do anything that I used to do, and so they just freeze.
Do our minds go to that negative then and become encumbered by that versus the other positives that we do still have in our life?
I would say yes. I think being on a lot of the social media can really take a toll, and so we really need to look at facts. We need to look at keeping a schedule, and like Dr. Raul said, you know, having that control is important. So I think if you have a schedule and stick to that, stick to your routine as much as possible, that will really help. But also not isolating. And I know that kind of sounds funny right now, but really still being in contact with your loved ones, with your friends, through the phone. You know, if you can do FaceTime, that would be great. And then really remember to take care of yourself. I mean, that is just really critical right now.
And as we go through this half hour, we will have some different graphics to share with you and helplines that you can go to for assistance. We'll make sure we pass that along as well. Amy, I'm curious, you know, we have disasters in our communities on a regular basis, whether it's a tornado or a flood, most recently maybe here, and that creates a mental stress on our population. But yet that's something you can see and put your hand on. How does that differ from something like a virus that you don't know where it is?
I think what's really unique about something we're experiencing is there doesn't seem to be any end in sight. I think that's a lot of what people might be experiencing. And there's so much that's unknown about what's happening. So information is changing constantly. And it's not just it's changing even every day, or it's changing by the hour. And so that is, I think, a lot of what's creating the fear out there, is all this unknown, uncertainty, and by people that we trust. also physicians by experts, and they're saying, we're not really sure. We don't really know when the end is in sight. And you might hear today, well, we think maybe in this time frame, and then tomorrow you're going to hear something different. And so all of that uncertainty, it's really hard to plan. And that, I think, is creating a lot of that anxiety and fear, whereas in a natural disaster, it might happen, and then you're left with something to try to fix or to manage. And so this is really different than that, and that's what people are trying to grapple with and to cope with every day.
Every day for quite a period of time now, too. During the last few days, we've taken time to reach out to our viewers and ask some different questions, including when the pandemic is over, do you think that you will be able to easily manage, or will it be difficult to return to your normal life? The results are there, nearly split down the middle. Is it more difficult to deal with it in present tense or to deal with it down the road at this point?
The present tense is worse because there's no action plan. So once an epidemic hits and it's over, then you can go back and look at those pieces that are broken, and then you pick up from there and build. Moving inside the new normal is difficult because you don't know which pieces you can take. And so your brain goes to, what did I used to do? I can't do that anymore. And then people have a lost perspective, which is, this has been taken from me. I didn't vote for this. I didn't have a choice in this. And then so then that fight or flight shows up, and people either push through anyway, or they get debilitated and sit down. So my vote would be like, it's now is the hardest part until people pick up a plan.
What behavioral changes might you offer? Jennifer earlier mentioned a couple in passing. Let's go through some of those as we go across the room here. Behavioral changes that people right now can do at home, at work, that will help this process.
Well, again, I think routine is huge, right? Some other things you can do is maybe just some grounding techniques, and what that is, it's going to help you calm down and bring you back to the here and now, which is really important. So simple things like taking some deep breaths, a lot of deep breathing. You can do, it's called progressive muscle relaxation, and it's when you tighten your muscles and then you relax. I mean, simple things like that, running your hand under the water, trying to, again, focus and be right here, right now, instead of having your mind go here and there and being an autopilot, because that is not going to be helping either. Racing thoughts could be, happening. Again, we just need to try to calm ourselves down and be right here. So,
yeah, I like to teach move steps. So it's M is music. So think about Michael Jackson or some old school stuff you want to play, so you can just get up and move around. So the music is helpful because it changes your mindset. The O is for outdoors. Get outdoors, even if you just get outside to barbecue. Today's a great day to go do something like jog or run, ride a bike. E is for exercise. So again, that's the biggest piece for us to change our mindset, because the fastest way to change your mindset is to move your mentality of your physicality. So you got to move physically. So that's the E. I missed the V. The V is the visualize. So you're going to visualize your new normal. You're going to visualize your training. And the best thing to do is actually literally journal or draw, and you visualize how this is going to look, how I'm going to take care of me, or how am I going to take care of me and my family. And the last one is the exercise.
Amy, is it okay to be sad? Is it okay to just lay down in your bed and cry if you have to? We're talking about positive things to get out, but is it okay to just go, whoa?
Absolutely. I think some of it is giving yourself permission to do that, and to know that you're not alone in that. For so many of us, we're working so hard to keep it together. Our jobs have changed for so many of us. Some people have lost jobs. Our kids are home all of a sudden. And so we're trying to figure out what's that new normal, trying to manage those schedules. And so I think some of it is just identifying what's going on, figuring out how to express that. Maybe it's by ourselves or talking it through with somebody else, and then moving forward. I think, we talked about having a routine is really good, finding somebody to talk to and not just sticking with it ourselves. Because sometimes what happens when we just sit with our own feelings is they become irrational. And so if I'm able to talk it through with Raul or with Jennifer, then they could say, oh, that's not really accurate, maybe what's going on or what those thoughts are. So doing that with somebody else can be really helpful. Making sure you're getting sleep and not constantly being on the news and reading about, we are inundated with it 24/7. And while it's great listening to people like you, Tim, and other people on the news, it's really important that we take breaks from what's happening and focus on other things that are happening in the world around us. And so taking those breaks. And when we find that we're not sleeping, when we can't focus on other things, when when music and exercise aren't working, then maybe it's time to reach out and say, I might need to get some help from a professional, and know that there's people out there that are right there, that are offering services, that you can pick up the phone or do it through telehealth or other ways. And it might be a short-term thing. And so those are some other things I would offer.
We've got a list of some of the signs that you may at home even be noticing. Signs of stress right here, from feeling numb almost to some of this, to changes in your appetite, the difficulty concentrating, as I think you just mentioned, difficulty sleeping, that's for sure, the physical reactions, as well as worsening of chronic issues. We talk about those with lingering health issues being most in danger during this time. It's amazing what can happen to issues that we already have while this is going on. We have a Facebook question, too, we want to get to, as our viewers have contacted us and sent messages in during the process. We want to share one of those with you that has come in. Last night, my 6-year-old was inconsolable because she was missing her friends. She says friends and school. So what can I say to my child during this uncertain time? That's something I'm sure many parents are facing on a daily basis, as well as just the question of what's going on. But let's start there. Inconsolable child, how do you grapple that?
Well,
Go ahead.
The very first thing, you have to lead with nurturance. And so even though we have to stay 6 feet apart from everybody else, you'd hug your daughter and just love on her and just let her cry, or you'd hug your son and let him cry. And you really just jump in with the nurturance side of that, and then you help them know that, like, this is universal. Like, all of us miss our friends, and that's okay to miss your friends. And then as they kind of come out of that and the energy changes, then you move toward then, okay, what would you like to do? Should we call them? Can we FaceTime them? Should we email them? My daughter was asking me to make sure her Apple ID works because she's trying to email and it's not working. And so a friend of hers that moved to Chicago, and so she wanted to contact her, so we're having similar feelings. But the most important thing is, like, you're okay, and this is going to be a normal reaction. I have the same feelings, and now let's game plan around it.
Yeah, for sure. So this actually happened with my 9-year-old just this week as well. She came running. I was watching TV, and she came in running into the room and was sobbing and just fell on me and said, I'm never going to see my friends again. So exactly what Raul just said is, I mean, just loved on her, hugged her a lot, and then we set up actually some calls with her friends. So she's able to connect with them and, you know, FaceTime with them. So that is, and just explain to them that this is, it's normal to be sad, and we're all grieving. I mean, we just had this discussion earlier that this is like a grieving process. We're grieving our normalcy. And so just talking about the stages of that, and that this is something that we will get through together.
I want to continue down that path and talk a little bit about folks that have, we were just talking about, that have pre-existing health conditions. I also want to talk about our addicted community, that whether it's alcohol or drugs or gambling or whatever it might be, I'm assuming this has to be a difficult time for them because there are so many other distractions. Plus, I can't meet in my big group with AA once a week. There are, and we'll share some of these here shortly, some places you can still get online help in this nature. But talk about that a little bit for those that may face an addiction at this time.
Well, I think, sure. I think, that, addiction is a disease that's isolating in and of itself. And so I think it's a concerning time, in that it can encourage people to isolate even more, because that's what we're encouraging people to do, is to self-isolate. It's hard to reach out and ask for help. It's hard for addicts. It's hard for somebody in early recovery to do that. And so to think about asking for help in times like this can be even more difficult. So I think the challenges can be greater right now. And so that's great that you're going to share those resources. I think for people in the helping fields, for family members, for friends, to take time to make extra calls, to reach out even more during this time to people in early recovery, because it's even more difficult right now for them to do that because they don't have those resources readily available to them.
Another group of folks, I think that right now, locally, we're in a good situation. We don't have mass numbers of positive tests. We don't have mass numbers of deaths. Our first responders are able to still continue their jobs for the most part from what we've learned. But I'm wondering about PTSD. Is that something that our first responders down the road may have to consider and try to tackle?
Well, right now, the biggest issue is just the mood contagion of fear. So in our community, people have been pretty safe, but they have the PPEs and they've got to be safe and use the natural precautions. But then they panic and see on the news of other people in bigger metropolitan areas that struggle. So then they ask questions like, am I endangering my own family? And so then the PTSD might come later if they get exposed or they didn't have the right equipment. But yes, then they can have the PTSD after the fact that it happens.
And I would say yes, because I think that it's kind of like what Raul said, and I think that we don't have those yet. And I think that that is that fear, and I think that we know that as the more testing happens, that there's the potential for more cases to occur here in our tri-state area and the communities that we're in. And when we have people in the healthcare, our healthcare communities and family members who potentially we become exposed to that, and people with underlying mental health conditions will be in those situations, that the mental health issues that we see in our community are going to be magnified and will increase significantly. And so I think as a community, we want to educate people to be aware of that and hopefully seek help so that it doesn't, so people are aware and can support first responders and others, because I think that just from what we're seeing, we see how it's impacting people. We want to be supportive of that.
Yeah.
Earlier today, during Governor Reynolds' press conference, she had one of her directors for mental health in the state of Iowa with her, and he was able to address some different issues today. I want to take just a second to take time to listen to what he has, a small portion of what he had to say today during Governor Reynolds' press conference from the Johnston Command Center there in central Iowa.
So ask yourself if you have fear and worry about your own health and the health of your loved ones. If you have changes in sleep or eating habits, or you have difficulties with sleeping or concentrating. If you have worsening chronic health conditions, or you find that your use of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs is increasing. If you answered yes to any of those questions, consider seeking additional help. Certainly you can be in touch with your healthcare provider, and that individual can connect you to services. Or if you or a loved one is experiencing a decline in mental health or having suicidal thoughts, facing problems with alcohol, drugs, or gambling, you can contact a service called Your Life Iowa by going to the website, yourlifeiowa.org, where you'll find information to get you connected with assistance that you may need. And on the website, there's a live chat function, so it's very easy to engage with someone directly.
We also want to get back to one of our poll questions as we've been talking with viewers during the week, and check out another of those questions that they've got for us and have you folks respond to that as well. And let's get to that if we can here. If you have experienced added tension, that was the question. Have you seen extra added tension with your family? And not surprisingly, more than half have said yes. Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, you're home from work, working, your kids are home from school, you're all in a confined area. We hope that you get time to get outside, get fresh air, but you're confined to close proximity most of the time. Besides taking a deep breath and maybe laughing, what can parents do to work their way through this, folks?
Well, the main thing is just to take a look at what's awesome about that situation. Like, we can all look at, look, I can't work, or I have to do telehealth, and or clients aren't coming in, or our money's down, or you can look at all these pieces, and then your kids follow suit. Instead, if you just stand up and be like, hey, let's all go on a walk, or you know what, we're all hands on deck, we're gonna learn a new recipe. And so if you take a look at what's awesome about this opportunity, this is kind of cool because you can download a book, an audio book, and sit around like the radio, like old school, and be like, can you imagine this is your new normal, this is your life? Can you imagine if you didn't have phones? Can you imagine? It's a crazy thing to see what kids do in their brains. It takes you to a whole new place, but they need somebody to lead.
Right.
And so you have to stop and ask yourself this question, which is, what's awesome about this situation?
I saw a quote that said, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Correct.
So true. So
Right.
true. Yeah, so I can totally relate to that because my husband's a teacher and all my kids are home and I'm working from home. So it is stressful because you're not only trying to do, those of us that are still working, and we're fortunate to be working, we're trying to work and we're trying to, you know, keep our kids occupied, and it is stressful. I mean, I admit, I've yelled a couple times this week myself, and then I have to reel myself back in and apologize and say, okay, let's practice some of our stuff that I'm trying to.
Sure.
Right, we got to practice what we're preaching, right?
Right.
So I'm trying to do that every night with my own kids, and it is hard. I mean, this is a hard time for everybody. So, yeah.
I think, Amy, especially some high-risk groups, too. Let's try to identify some folks that maybe may need an extra telephone call or some extra consideration in these days.
Sure. I think some groups, you know, I think those, I think about some of our elderly folks, those who live alone, those with underlying mental health issues. I know some with disabilities as well who oftentimes rely on the help of other people. I think they're definitely a risk because they have very limited social interaction anyway, and that really has been significantly cut because of our social distancing. So they're definitely, I think, at higher risk for depression and anxiety. I know Raul was just sharing a mental health statistic, and maybe that would be, if you want to share that now, Raul.
So just the national survey, so they just interviewed families with the survey, but the day before the lockdown, the percent of anxiety and depression were about 16 and 18% of people in the survey. The day after the lockdown, they sent it back to the same people, and everything jumped twice as high for anxiety and depression. And that's just knowing that we're going to be locked down. That's not knowing about jobs, money, finances, kids, all those pieces. Just the idea that we're going to have to stay around the house, there's already this added pressure. It's like the scene in Star Wars where the wall's closing in, and there's no plan. And so that's an issue. We just have to understand, especially for the high-risk people that Amy just mentioned, that we have to understand that everybody is stressed, everybody's under the gun, so to speak, pressure-wise. And so, like, now what do we do? And that concept is we're all in this together. We're all going to learn. There's nobody that we can turn to who has expertise, and we're all going to learn together. We just got to press in.
And it seems like another aspect of that is to try to remember it's not going to be over in 2 or 3 days. So to try to stay grounded and just let it play. I mean, try to play it out because it's not going to happen in a course of a week.
Can I also mention, too, that, you know, our first responders and their families are also high risk right now for mental health and anxiety because they're the ones on the front lines doing this, you know, day in and day out. And so we need to support those individuals as much as we can. People that have lost their jobs, right? I mean, again, it's a large portion of our community. So we really need to be checking in, like Amy said, check in with people. Even when we think we're over communicating, that's probably better now than it was before.
Some of these things we've already talked about, but we want to share a graphic with you from the state of Nebraska now. And this is some different types of strategies that you can use to stay mentally grounded and mentally positioned here, and we'll have this on our website later when we post this video. You can go back and look at it, but recommending that you only get information from reliable sources, something we've talked about. Posts and rumors on social media can spread out of control and negatively impact anyone's mental health. Try to limit your time watching or listening to news that gives you anxiety. Practice self-care, exercising regularly. Keep in good sleep routines, a proper diet, stay connected, reach out to friends and family. Staying in contact with loved ones can help relieve, and we've talked, I think, about virtually every one of those. We also have an 800 number. We want to put up a help number that anyone can call into toll-free and get help as they may need it. We'll pop that up as it becomes available. But as we start to wind down, come back to each of you, as we move forward, we've tried to highlight some different things that people can do. You can only make so many pies. You know, you can only tell so many stories. So let's kind of retrack here, and as we start to wind down, offer some advice again for folks here, if not the long-term, the short-term, ways to make sure that you're keeping your mental health as good as it can be. Jennifer?
You know, do something fun. Do a scavenger hunt in the community, around your house, I mean, around the neighborhood. We did it in the car with our family. It was fun. You know, just something totally different, something we probably would have never done in this case. I mean, just get out, take care of yourself, take care of your family as much as you can.
And I wanted to mention this earlier, too. You were talking about the kids' benefits. So these teacher parades that we see, they really do have an impact, not for the teachers, but the kids as well.
Well, and for me. I mean, I actually broke down and cried because the kids were so excited. I mean, I think it's benefiting everybody.
Raul?
Yes, I would make a last comment about the stay connected piece. There is a lot of research that differentiates between, like, for example, just watching TV shows, just being passively online, scrolling. And so that's not what we're talking about when we say stay connected. Staying connected is literally being in a conversation via text message or especially FaceTime, or if you're going to do anything like that, those are the pieces that you want to really focus on. Because when we say stay connected, it's not just get lost online. It's not just, you know, put your head inside Netflix and just get lost. So we're really talking about reconnecting with friends, reconnecting especially with people who are out of town, people you haven't checked with in a long time, because there's a lot of conversation and just catching up with the family. It's very rare that you can call a family friend that you haven't talked to in a long time and everyone's in your room.
Right.
And so that's what we talk about staying connected. It's really important to stay visually connected.
Amy, in about 15, 20 seconds here.
I would just remind people that you don't have to do things perfectly, and that I think people are doing the best they can, and to know that that's good enough right now.
All right, perfect. I want to show that 800 number that we promised a minute ago. It's right here, and that's for coping with COVID-related mental health issues. It's from the Disaster Distress Helpline there, and as I say, it is toll-free. Substance Abuse, Mental Health and Services Administration there help to provide all of that. And as we wrap up here this evening, I want to thank each of you for being with us once again. A half an hour flies by, but I think we've provided some information. And again, we'll put it on our website so folks can check it again. And we hope that you'll be with us again next week. April 9th, we'll be joined again by the medical professionals who got this all started 3 weeks ago. Thanks for being with us, and good night.